Good morning, it's Valerie from Shalebrook Handcrafted Soap in Mosel River, Nova Scotia. And recently I had just experimented with something new for me, and it was whipped cold process soap. I had got great information from Sarah Milroy's video on whipped cold process soap. Thank you, Sarah, so much. It helped incredibly. And I've got some great tips from Susan Wilkes-Baker as well. So I really appreciate that. Thank you, Susan. And to everybody else who helps and shares, and we can all learn from. So today I'm going to try to do another whipped cold process soap. And this one is going to be an all natural. And it's going to be scented with anise and pine scotch and lavender. And I'm going to use natural colorants of activated charcoal and some powders of annatto seed powder, pumpkin powder, and orange peel powder. So the soap I did before, I just wanted to show you a picture of it. I was extremely pleased with it. And this one here was colored with micas from Steph's Micas, and scented with champagne kisses. So that's what this one's called. And that white is actually the natural batter of that. No TD, no zinc, and I won't be doing that this time either, using any other colorants except natural colorants. Well, I'm going to try to anyway. We'll see how it goes. What I've learned from this is that your oils that you use should be 80% hard oils and 20% soft oils, and I'm sure you can play with that and see what you get with it. You can make up your own formula with that as well. I will be posting the formula I did, and the first formula I did I really liked, and I changed it a bit this time, so who knows what this one's going to turn out like, but it's still 80% hard oils versus 20% soft oils. And I tweaked mine quite a bit because I wanted the most conditioning I could get with the lowest cleansing or the lowest drying I could get. And then I super fatted this at 10%. So I will be posting the formula that I used, and it's a 3-pound recipe, and I'm going to use 38% lye liquid. And it came to 18.25 ounces of lye liquid. I'm using 15 ounces of water from that and 3.25 ounces of coconut milk. And I'm putting in 1 tablespoon of yogurt and 2 tablespoons of maple syrup in this. It has 3 tablespoons of sugar in the lye water and 2% sodium lactate. So what happens with this, how it works, is that you need to have your, from what I understand, you need to have your hard oils and butters chilled, and so that they can whip better. And it might take a bit to whip it, but it adds air and it becomes very fluffy. And then you add your 20% soft oils to it, and then you add your lye liquid, which I read should be around 40 degrees Fahrenheit. I think mine was 60 degrees Fahrenheit the last time I did this, so I think I'm going to aim for that degree of temperature in that as well. Right now I just checked the temperature of my hard oils, and they were 62 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm going to start to whip this, and what I will do is I'll take you through the stages. I will explain it the best I can, and when it's whipping for like 3 minutes or however long it takes, I'm going to shut the camera off. Then I'll bring you back when that's done, and I'll explain to you what's happened. So I'll try to explain to you everything that I'm doing, which is, this is just the introduction. My husband's going to mount that camera on the tripod, and then we'll start to whip the hard oils, and when those are whipped up really good and fluffy, then I'm going to add that 20% of soft oils and whip it as well. Then we'll add the milk and maple syrup, and then I'll add my lye and sodium lactate, and we'll go from there. And God willing, this will all go smooth. And just remember to have your safety gear, because when I go to add my lye and work with the batter, I'll be wearing gloves and I'll be wearing eye protection. Okay, so my husband's going to mount that, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. Thank you. Okay, so here we are, and there's my mixture. And it should be maybe just a bit softer than this because I have some pretty hard pieces. I had that in the freezer. So I'm going to hook this up to my mix master here. And you can use whatever you like. This is the one I have, and this is the whisker that I'm going to use in it. And I'm going to hook this up and we'll start it off. And periodically you'll need to stop it and scrape it down. And I'll just let that camera go until I first start it. And then I'm going to shut the camera off. I'll bring you back when it's all fluffy, and I'll tell you exactly how long that took. Okay. Hopefully I won't get in the way too much with this. I like my other mix master better, and I ended up giving it to my son. So it was much more user-friendly. Okay, so I'm just going to start off slow. Can you see that now, hon? And looks like this isn't working because it's not plugged in all the way. Okay. There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just mix that at medium speed until it all gets manageable, and then I'm going to whip it on high until it gets nice and fluffy and the texture I think it should be, and I'll bring you back. I'll tell you how much time it was and you'll get to look at it. Okay. Hello, we're back, and I want to show you what stage we're at right now. And as soon as so I beat it for 3 minutes, and I took it off and I scraped the sides around and I put it back on for 2 minutes. And this is where we're at right now. And this is why this, I wish I had my other mix master, but I wanted to show you in here. Hopefully you can still see that. And so you can see that that's beautifully whipped and how nice that is. It's just like extremely thick whipped cream, or yeah, I guess that's the best thing. It's just beautiful. Hopefully you can see that, how beautiful that is. So the next stage that we do right now, I'm going to scrape that down. I'm going to put it back in the mix master, and I'm going to add my 20% soft oils. And I think I'll also add my 3.25 ounces of coconut milk and my yogurt with this and the maple syrup before I add the lye. And then we'll whip it up again, and I'll show you. I'm just going to scrape this up a bit around there. And when I go to put my lye in, I'll be putting my gloves and my goggles on. You have to be very careful with that. Now, I also read that when you add your soft oils to this, this is going to deflate a bit. And there's a couple of things you can do. Usually it'll fluff right back up again from my first experience. But I learned that if it doesn't, what you can do is you can put this back into the freezer and for 5 minutes or so, and just let it cool off a bit more. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put this up, and I'm going to just put it on low. And I'm going to get my soft oils and my coconut milk. And while the mix master is running, I'm going to pour those in. Okay, so here we go. So here's my soft oils. And what I used was 15% castor oil and 5% almond oil. And I'm just thinking, Brian, can you tell me if I just turn that sideways, can you see that still? Can you still see inside there? Just that I think I can pour better having it like this. Okay. All right, so hopefully everybody can still see. And, okay, I'm gonna have to pour, maybe I'll pour like that. So I'm just gonna turn it on about medium and pour these in. Pour them in slowly. I'm just going to shut that off so I can scrape this out and get the rest of that oil in there. I get every bit out that I can. So that's all my soft oils, and what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put that back up, and I'm going to whip it on high for probably about 1 minute. I don't think I'll shut the camera off for that. And then I'm going to add my milk. Okay, so that was about 30 seconds, 35, 40 seconds. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add my milk and maple syrup and yogurt. And then I'm going to add my lye. And we'll see how, if this deflates it very much. And we'll take it from there if it does. So I'm just going to put this on medium and add my milk in. So you can see that that's still pretty fluffy. I'm just going to, right now, scrape the sides and scrape that bottom up. We're getting a lot of batter in there. And that's still real fluffy. I'm happy with that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on and I'll let it go. Shut the camera off and I'll let it go for a couple minutes. And then I'll bring you back and we'll add our lye. So Brian's going to shut that camera off and I'll bring you back in 2 minutes. Hello, so that was 2 minutes. And my husband just told me something, that this is not a mix master, this is a KitchenAid. And I guess I'm just really old. Anyway, so this is a KitchenAid, not a mix master. And one thing I forgot to do that I will tell you about is this is my essential oils. The first time I did this with that Champagne Kisses soap, I added my fragrance oils to the soft oils and mixed them up before I added them to this. I wish I would have done that this time, and I didn't. So that was another tip that I believe Sarah Milroy had in her video, was adding your fragrance or essential oils to your soft oils. And these aren't even cool, but so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this on low, and I'm going to add these in, and then I'm going to add my lye. Turn that on high a bit. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to scrape those sides down one more time. Oh, I'm getting a lot of batter in there, and it's beautiful. You can see why you don't need zinc oxide or TD if you were going to do a non-natural soap, because that is incredibly white. And I'm hoping it's going to stay that way, and that my essential oils won't do anything to that. They shouldn't. So the next stage is to add our lye, and I'm fortunate to have this little top that goes on this machine, because when I pour the lye in, then it just helps a bit more in the batter. And I remember I got my gloves on and I got to put my glasses on. As my husband just said, hey, your glasses. So I'm putting my glasses on. Thank you, honey. And I'm going to put this on low as I slowly add my lye. Sodium lactate in it, and it was in the fridge, and I believe the temperature was 57, so not 40 but 57. And now I'm going to just put that up for about 1 minute. I'm not going to bother turning the camera off. Hopefully you can turn your sound down, and we'll whip this up a bit more. Okay, so that's 1 minute, and I'm just going to put that down and see what that texture is like. Okay, I think that's good enough. You can actually put that thicker if you want it. You could put that in the freezer a bit, but I think that's a good texture for me. The other thing I forgot to mention is that this is a 3-pound batch, but because it's whipped, it's going to fill more than a 3-pound batch. And depending on your formula, how much more. I just did it 3-pound anyway, but sometimes you can cut your formula back by a percentage. And I'll just get my husband to move that mix master over there. A KitchenAid. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to move that KitchenAid over there. Yeah, KitchenAid. I had to get that stuck in my head. And I'll move that cutting board. So there's our batter. And look how white that is. And I'm just going to clean these off to get the most soap I can from this. Okay, now I have seen actually some whipped soap that's actually quite a bit thicker than that. So what you need to do is find what you're comfortable with and what you like. And I already tested the one I made a couple days ago, and it does float if you're looking for floating soap. And I'll probably maybe put that in this video as well. So here's my containers that I'm going to use. And I'm going to hope to have a really dark activated charcoal and a really light activated charcoal, and then an orange type color with the annatto seed powder, pumpkin powder, and orange peel. We'll see how that goes. And then the rest of the batter is going to be white. Boy, does that ever smell good. I'm going to try to pour some of this. So like I say, this is not extremely thick, more thick whipped cream type texture. And that's up to you how you would like to do that. Whoa, okay. Scoop this up. All right. And then what I'm going to do once I get this all done, I think I will put it in the freezer, because I was told that it cuts better. Because this is a crumbly type of soap. Very crumbly type of soap. And because of the nature of it being beat like egg, like meringue. And I believe Jackie Han, I think, was the one that told me to put it in the freezer because it would cut better. Probably a couple people, and I'm sorry if I missed your name on that. I'm always grateful for all the tips and everybody helping each other. So I'm thinking that this actually probably isn't going to work out with black, and I should have thought of that because of the whipped soap. But maybe it'll be enough contrast. This one's going to be really light then. And I mixed those colors up with water and a bit of glycerin. Yeah, that one's really light. So I just might add a bit more charcoal to that one, and I'll see when I get these lined up. That's pretty thick stuff, that is. I don't know, am I in that camera? Okay, so what I'm going to do, because I can tell that that's not going to be quite as orange as I'd like, I'm going to get my honey to shut that camera off. I'm going to mix up some annatto seed, maybe some Chinese rhubarb powder, and I'm going to mix it in with this, and maybe a little bit more charcoal powder. And then I'll bring you back when I have those colors done. Okay, we're back, and I added a lot more natosi powder to that, so it's kind of an orange yellow now. And I don't like annatto seed powder. Sometimes I think it's a bit gritty, but it's all right. It's all natural, so hopefully it's all good for you. And what I'm going to do with, and this is the activated charcoal. I add quite a bit more to even get it that dark gray. And this is the one that's the light charcoal. And you can still see how really, really white that is. This batter, it is starting to harden up. So I'm going to get ready and try a design with this and see what happens. Do my best to show you what I do for that, for what I call the, I'm going to do like a zebra pour and then a butterfly swirl. So first I'm just going to dump some white in here. That's blocking it off. Sorry about that. And because it's getting thicker, I might actually have a bit of a difficult time swirling that. But we'll see what happens. And I'm just going to bang that on the floor. And I'm going to tip it, and I think I'll do some of this color first. Okay, thank you. My husband's going to hold that for me. Thank you, Brian. And I think I'll do a bit of this dark. my paper towel there. Whoops. Just dip it down like that. There we go. Just like that. Got it? Okay, thank you. And maybe these colors will darken up. I know they, on the other soap, they darkened up a bit. I think I'll save not a whole lot of that one dark gray left. I think I'll just save some of that. And I want some more white on there. Just let it go down. Okay. Okay, just hold it just a bit till I... Alright. So, I think that's all I'm going to use for those colors. I'm going to finish off with some white here. Going to bang that on the floor. to try a swirl with that. So I bang it down as much as I can first, because try to get out any air bubbles, because when I go to swirl this, that's going to create air bubbles. And the thing is that you can bang it down afterwards, but chances are you mightn't get round. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to do just a backwards swirl in circles very slowly. And then I'm just going to come across the middle and come out. Now I'm really going to hope that and pray that actually will not be too many air bubbles in that. And then I think I will try to pile some soap up there. Where's that little green thing? I am not a great cold process soap maker for sure, but hopefully there might be something in here that will help you. And I'll show you the cut of this regardless of what it looks like. And maybe I'll just tap it lightly. Then I'm going to I'll just put some. Then I'm going to put this in the freezer. And remember, design is really nice, but if the soap is no good for your skin, then the design, you can only look at it. Nothing wrong with that, but you just can't utilize it for your skin. I like to make the soap really good for the skin too. And I actually like mine, just for the body, I like it to be high conditioning and low cleansing. Getting pretty high there. I know what we're going to do with that. Okay. This is actually when you really should stop messing with your soap. So, should follow my own advice and say, that's it. And what I'm going to do with the rest of this, I think, here's what I'm going to do with the rest. I'm going to put it in here and do an in-the-pot swirl and put it in a 1 pound loaf. Thank you, and I'll be showing you the cuts later. Bye-bye. Okay, so we're back with the, this is an all-natural, cold-processed whipped soap, and it's colored with activated charcoal, annatto seed powder, pumpkin powder, and orange peel powder. The white is just the natural batter, and it's been almost 24 hours, and I had it in the fridge for about 2 hours. So now I'm going to try and cut this. And that is really hard. I actually am surprised that it would be that hard. And that actually worked worse. There's the picture of it. I had read that putting it in the freezer would actually help it not to crumble, and it did not work. It actually seems to have crumbled worse. So I just wanted to show you the cut, and maybe I'll take a piece out of the center here. And I'll just show you that. I'm quite pleased with that, and I'm going to clean this up, and I'll post pictures of the cut on the video as well. So thank you so kindly for watching, and I hope this video can help in even a small way in doing whipped soap. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello. So this is the floating whipped soap, and I wanted to tell you when I was doing that video, because I had a couple people say, put your whipped soap in the freezer and it will cut better. And I did that, and I took it out and I cut it, and I'm telling you now, do not do that. Because as you can see from here maybe, when I took it out to cut it, it didn't cut any better at all, and it sweated and it dripped and ran. And because this is whipped soap, it was extremely fragile, and the bars were unsteady and they fell against each other, and I could have cried because I was just so happy with how everything turned out with the natural colorants. So I don't know if you can see, but that fell through the racks, seeped down through, because whipped soap is fragile and it needs time. So here's my suggestion to you, is that when you make whipped soap, do not put it in the freezer. Put it in the fridge if you like. Let it set for 24 hours. And then if you like, take it out of the fridge and let it set another 24 hours before you cut. Because you'll save yourself a lot of heartache. It will have time to solidify it a bit. Even if you just let it set out for 48 hours, I think you're way better off. So my suggestion and my encouragement from learning the hard way is, do not put your whipped soap in the freezer. It definitely does not cut any better, and it makes things a lot worse. It's very fragile, it'll weep and sweat, and you'll save yourself a lot of heartache. So I just wanted to show you that I'm going to put this in here to see if it floats. I'm going to hope it floats, and well, let's see what happens. Okay, here we go. Yay! Okay, so that floats, and I'm real happy with that. Hopefully, can you see that good, honey? So there you go. And this has to set another 4 to 6 weeks, and then it'll be ready to use. And maybe I'll do a lather test on it and show you. So that's 2 I've done. One was with fragrance oils and micas, and this is with essential oils and natural colorants. Thank you for watching, and I'm going to post some pics, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.